All right, my man Chris Hunter. Now I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, man, and I want to see if you're gonna tell the truth or not. All right. So back in college, this from like 2002 all the way to 2006, we played PlayStation, NBA Live. Shit, pretty much every year it came out, y'all had that current year's NBA Live. If we played 500 games, be honest, how many of them games do you think I won?
Out of 500, probably two.
Lies, man. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So I got another question. How tall are you?
Well, it depends on what shoes I got on, what socks I got on, but you can average it out about 6'11".
No,
Six
you
eleven.
you you, you ain't that much tall. I'm 5'8".
Yeah, five. Yeah.
You a few inches taller
No,
than me,
I'm
so you
about I'm
can.
about at least a foot and a half. So if I wear my good thick socks, I'll be 7 feet. So.
Okay. So here's the next question. Next question is, if me and you play 1-on-1 in a basketball game today, who will win?
Me by a landslide.
He was a damn like he lying. He lying, y'all. I just want y'all to know because I guarantee if just one game, if we going up to 13, he might score 3. And that's just because I'm being nice. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here
Hey,
goes.
we might have to film that too. We might get that going. Let's go.
No, we don't have to just because, just take my word for it that I will win. Okay, here's the next question, right? So right now while we're taping this, the Warriors and Boston Celtics are in the championship. Boston just had an incredible fourth quarter, historical. They came back and they won the first game, right? So when people see this, the finals is going to be over pretty much. But I want to put your skills to the test because they're going to know whether or not you're right or wrong by the time they see this. So who do you pick coming out of the finals?
Whew. I'm a Golden State Warrior by heart, so I'm always going to lean to them. I still see them winning this series, probably in 7 games, but
7?
probably in 7 because this Boston Celtic team is the real deal. It's the real deal. I still see them winning it. I think last night's game was an aberration in a lot of ways. I think you're going to have some ups and downs and some ebbs and flows in the game, but that fourth quarter that the Boston Celtics put on was historic. I mean,
Yeah.
the way they shot the ball, scored the ball, and the defense they put on the Golden State Warriors was something to behold. So, but I don't think some of the players who made those shots can replicate that at the same level that they did in that fourth quarter. So, if Golden State can continue to be the championship type of DNA team that they are, I think that they can still have an opportunity to win this series in 7.
In 7. Okay. All right. You know what? I want Boston to win, but I'm leaning towards the Warriors too, just because of that championship DNA, that experience. I mean, how many games are you gonna catch? Klay Thompson and also what's the other guy named from Michigan?
Jordan Poole.
Jordan
Party.
Poole. Right. We got to talk about him because you actually were on the coaching staff. When he was there. So I just want to know from your perspective, did you see this coming? Because I don't think nobody saw it coming, but you saw firsthand when he was, a teenager, a young boy with the hair all crazy and everything at Michigan. Did you see this coming?
Yeah, I mean, he had the talent from day one. I remember when our first coaches called me into his office, LaVall Jordan was like, "Hey man, let me take a look at this kid, man, see if I'm missing something. Like this dude is nice." So he showed me the highlights. I'm like, "Nah, he's good. I mean, he's talented. He always had the shiftiness, the creativity, that type of charisma to his game and his personality. You can tell that he had that inside of him. At Michigan, he showed flashes, all the time, especially his sophomore year. He really had a good sophomore year to put him in position, had an opportunity to be drafted in the first round. But like you saw the charisma, you saw the fearlessness, off the court, you saw the quick-wittedness. So, when you put all that together in his work ethic, you knew that he was going to have an opportunity. And for him landing with Golden State, I think was like the perfect opportunity, the perfect culture for him to be around that type of culture, the guys that are on that team, that style of play, the veterans who are so selfless and pour into the young guys. Like he landed in the perfect opportunity. So I'm so happy for him and his family, man. He got a great family, great people. But I mean, you saw flashes, but I'm just so happy that he landed where he did so he can put it all together and and now you see all his fruits of labor come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how long the Golden State Warriors is going to be able to keep that dude, because the next contract is going to be up there. So we'll see. So let me ask you, what was it like growing up in Gary, Indiana?
Gary, Indiana, Steel City. You know, I think it has a reputation, and it came up with a reputation of being a blighted city, for sure, which it is. Obviously, you know, my parents always tell me, you know, all the stories about how Gary was really a model city in a lot of ways. You know, first Steel City in that area, and really was like a model for the school systems. The downtown was booming. All of the things surrounding that Steel Corporation was great back then. But when I grew up, you know, it was kind of on that downturn, that downslide, where you can see things slipping and falling away. When I was growing up, you know, we were considered the murder capital of the world.
Damn,
those sort of things. But my parents did a great job. I didn't feel that. You know, I never felt like I was, you know, in a place that was unsafe, or felt like I didn't have the resources that I needed to succeed, or be in an environment that was dangerous or volatile. It was always just such a great thing. You know, all of my immediate family, aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody. So it was always big gatherings over my grandmother's house. And so it was really a cool place to grow up, in my opinion, given all of the stuff that was going around and surrounding the area too. So,
but you were kind of insulated from that, because, you know, your parents were highly involved in your upbringing. Your father and mother, were they together pretty much?
Highly involved, two-parent household, been together for 47 years.
What? Man, clap it up. Clap it up for the Hunters, man. God, 47?
Yeah, so a long time. Yeah.
Damn.
47 years, and it's recently. I mean, their anniversary is just on May 22nd.
Wow.
So
okay. How tall is your mom and your dad?
So my dad is about 6'6", 6'7", and then my mom is about 5'10", and a half.
Okay, so it wasn't like an Anthony Davis situation where I think he was in college and he just jumped up like, you know, 10 inches. I think the same thing happened with Dennis Rodman. You were tall from the beginning.
Tall. I was always in the back of the class pictures, a head taller than everybody. So I just, you know, progressively just grew and was a head taller than everybody growing up.
I got you. So how young were you when you know you wanted to play basketball?
Wow, like, you know, not seriously. I probably came maybe 7th, 8th grade, but I really started playing in the 3rd grade. Is when I really started to get into it. Me and one of my guys back in the day, we used to get to school early. You know, school would be like, you know, 7:45, something like that. We'd get up there like 7 a.m., get to the gym and just, you know, shoot around and play every morning. So that's when it started for me, really kind of loving it and taking an interest in the game and starting to really put time into it and have fun with it. So I would say the 3rd grade is when I really started to be a little bit organized and start playing basketball.
Man, listen, I was like horrible in basketball. So I grew up east side of Detroit, and I remember when I was in elementary school, I was on this block named Copland. So it was between Warren and Southampton. But Southampton was a side street. And it was a blacktop. So we'd pull the rim out, you know, throw some water in the bottom of the thing to weigh it down or whatever. And yeah, what I do remember is always being like the last, you know how you would pick a 5-on-5 and they get to the 10th person and you got 2 captains. They like, oh, damn, man, I guess I'll take Dave. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of damned if I did and damned if I didn't, because if I was the last pick, they always blame the loss on me, right? And if I didn't get picked, let's say if it was 11 guys there, I'm the 11th one, so I got to call next. Then the next guys who walk in, you know, seeing what's going on, who, you know, want to call next, this, that, and the third, they're like, who got next? Oh, I got next. Oh, no, okay, I'll just wait. I'll wait till after you, young fella. You know, so they didn't even want to be on my team. It was bad, man. And I played in middle school, I can remember. And I played my 7th grade year, my 8th grade year, and I was good in practice. In practice, I'm throwing dimes, I'm great. But then when they cut the cameras on, when we actually got to playing in a game,
when the popcorn got popping,
man, my mom would show up, stepdad would show up. You know, my coach wanted me to be in the game. You know, he tried to give me minutes, but as soon as I got out there, I would freeze. And I can remember my mom told me, like, listen, son, you know, I'm short. Your dad ain't that tall. You pretty smart. You good in math. So how about you, you know, pursue something more practical like engineering? So what I want to ask you is, what do you remember the first regulation game you played? Like you know, as an adolescent, when you actually got into whatever league you was in, whether it was a school league, AAU, do you remember the first game you played in?
Yeah, I would probably more so remember like my 6th grade when I got to middle school. And really, like, that's when we actually had a female head coach, really good coach back then. And we had a good crop. Like, back then, Gary, like, for athletics and everything was really good. We had a good crop of athletes all over. I mean, talking about football, track, basketball, guys going Division I, pro, all over the place. Baseball as well. We had guys coming from my high school to play in Major League Baseball. So it was good. But I remember just that 6th grade kind of year of just like really getting out there with people in the stands, and you know, you still just trying to figure out your body. I'm long, like Bambi, running around and just having a good time. But early on, having some success, and like, yo, this is something that I can pursue and have fun with, and I enjoy doing it. So it was good.
And you were good when the lights was on. I'm assuming, because you
yeah,
you weren't like me. Yeah.
To get to where I got to, I had to be do all right, do a little something.
Right? Did you have one of them dads like Denzel on He Got Game, where he was just he had you outside in a blizzard just shooting? Like, don't come in inside. You can't eat until you make 100 shots. It wasn't like that.
No, it wasn't like that. My dad was awesome, man. Just super supportive. It wasn't, him and my mom. It wasn't the pushing it into it. It was just providing the opportunity and the resources to say, hey, if I wanted to play here, I wanted to play there. They did all they could to make it happen. One of my first hoops was in the backyard. Was a milk crate cart. We cut the bottom of the milk crate out. We had a tree in the back, and we screwed the thing into the tree, and we were shooting on that. Yeah. And then eventually, one of my aunts.
And you gotta be good to make it into the crate, because I think once it get in there, it just rattle. Yeah,
rattle down.
But go ahead.
And then after I took more and more interest into it, one of my aunts bought me like one of the little portable hoops that we had in the backyard, in the driveway. So no, just providing opportunities, man. They never pushed or pried it, but they were always there, supportive, and any resources, any rides, all that stuff that I needed, they were there for.
Damn. So okay, was it true that you were a class 4A MVP your senior year of high school? I think you might have averaged 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
Yeah. No, so we my senior year in high school, we won the 4A state championship in Indiana.
Damn, okay.
So the 4A is, they get 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. 4A is the biggest kind of, the biggest schools with the biggest population.
Hey, y'all, I was 2A in Detroit, Michigan, in middle school. Just want y'all to know. Go ahead.
No, it's all good.
You laughing because you think I'm lying, or you just
okay? It's all good. But yeah, no, we won that. We won that my senior year. So that was awesome. That was our first time winning or being in the state championship in my high school in 30 years. For our city. So I mean, it was huge. The whole city came out. It was big, and we was able to take home that championship and bring a championship back to Gary. So that was fun, man. That was a fun time. Like, you never forget those moments and those memories with all those dudes on there and the whole city flocking down to Indianapolis and shutting it down. So it was good. You
were highly recruited by a lot of reputable universities. Why did you choose Michigan? Because I'm sure they recruited you. So
I mean, it was a lot of good schools that I had opportunities to go to. When I came to Michigan, it was really just obviously, when you think about the athletic side, the academic piece, it sets you up for the future. And I was well aware of that, when I was little. But just coming to the city, it was a feel, man. Like, when I got here with my parents and just walking around and just seeing everything and coming to places and going to restaurants, it was like, yo, this feels like somewhere where I can be. It felt like a home environment for me. I liked the way it felt. So, and then just, add on top of it, we had really great coaches. I was coached by Tommy Amaker, who did a great job, had a great staff, but really, having a good relationship with those guys, and then just the feel of Ann Arbor and the city, it was like, yeah, this is nice. It's like, got like a little downtown feel. It's got a little suburban feel. It got everything that you might need as far as a college campus. So, I was excited about it, and it just felt right. So I committed actually on my visit when I came.
Damn. Okay, so then you get there, right? Most athletes, they picking the easiest majors ever. And it's not like a knock to them, because playing basketball, D1 basketball or football, it's like a full-time job plus some. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, for sure.
But you chose to major in business administration. You got your bachelor's in business administration. And for those who don't know, I think at that time, was it Ross School of Business?
Yeah, it was the Ross School of Business.
Number 2, right, in the country?
Yeah, top 2 in the country. They still always, every year, top 2 or 3.
And you had to get accepted into that school. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, this Chris Hunter, we need him in our program, in order to help us recruit more people. People were dying to get into the School of Business. Why did you choose to do that and be a basketball player at a D1 college? Why did you choose to take on that type of major when everybody else was kind of picking a easier route? Understandably so.
Yeah, I mean, I was always academic. So, from the 3rd to 4th grade up, I was able to, get off into what we call the gifted and talented program back in Gary.
Man.
So always academic, always took care of my business in the classroom and, enjoyed challenges. So for me, really like the idea sparked from, some of my past experiences as a kid. Like I used to sell in the summertime, like sell lollipops and popsicles. My mom would buy them for me and my sister, and I'd be in the neighborhood selling them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something with business. And then in high school, I used to, burn CDs and sell CDs to people. I don't even know if I can mention my man's name, R. Kelly CDs. R. Kelly. When that new 12 play came out, I was burning and people was buying it. So the business thing came from that. And then also, like when I watched Boys in the Hood back in the day, when Ricky when Ricky had the college recruiter come to his living room and was in there. He's like, what you want to do? And it's always, that same feeling where you don't know when you're that young, you don't have a plan for it, but it's like, what you want to do? You're like, yeah, me and my friend start a business. I like computers or whatever. But for me, the business side really rang out. And then once I got here and started to learn more about the business school and everything it had to offer and what it could set you up for in the future, I knew it would be a great challenge for me if I can get it done and do it, and was lucky enough to get in and get accepted and make it through.
And got your degree in it.
And got the degree.
So me and you got a couple of things in common. We both are incredibly, good looking. We both picked tough majors. I was engineer, you was, business school. And yeah, we both are incredible athletes. I just didn't. Michigan didn't recruit me. So anyway, you end up graduating from Michigan. You had 4 incredible years playing basketball, and it seemed like your trajectory, you just kept getting better and better every year. I mean, you was really rocking by the time junior and senior year hit. I can remember, you and Daniel and Sherrod, y'all would kind of get me and Marcus and the rest of the crew, because we came in a bridge program together. Tickets to the game. Yeah. And I can't remember which game it was, but we was popping that year. It was either junior year or senior year when we beat Wisconsin, and I think they might have been ranked number 10 or something. We was even going toe-to-toe with Illinois, and that's when they had D. Brown and who was it? Darren.
D. Brown, Darren Williams.
Darren Williams.
All them cats.
Y'all was going toe-to-toe with these cats, and I think maybe during the Wisconsin game, Daniel might have hit a floater. It was like the winning shot. I can't remember, right? And Marcus, everybody ran out on the court. And of course, when you go through the Michigan basketball arena, it was this big picture of Marcus, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and he to this day, he brags about that. Like, yeah, I made national news. I was on ESPN, and they showed, when they hit the winning shot, I was the first one on the court or whatever. So he actually thinks he's an athlete. He kind of talks about, Marcus is a guy we graduated from college with. He's not a basketball player. He's actually an actor, but he actually thinks he's a basketball player, and he tells these lies about times where he tried out for the team. And
he did. I remember.
And Amaker, he said he bust Daniel last. Mind you, Daniel is a McDonald's All-American.
All-American, but he was our best player on the team.
Right.
I remember that try. That was so hilarious. That try.
What did he all? Because he said Amaker told him, "Hey man, if you was in better shape, you would have made it." But I don't think he had a chance.
I think he did tell him that, but sometimes, you tell people stuff to make them feel a little bit better about themselves. They say, nah, you just weren't good enough. No, if you was in a little better shape, so man, you know.
That's what made America a cool guy, because he was honest, but he didn't want to, break his spirit either.
No, for sure.
So you graduate from Michigan, right? After having, 4 incredible years. What happened after that?
So after that, man, I graduated. I finished up classes actually in that spring semester. So I really, as soon as I finished classes, a week later, I was on a plane going to Switzerland. So I saw you did Switzerland, I think Belgium, Poland. So what happened during that you was out there for how many years? So I was out there for about 2 years.
Okay.
Right?
In Switzerland or just overseas?
Just overseas period. So I went to Switzerland. That was a little quick stop. I went there first. Was there for maybe about, I want to say about 8-9 weeks. Right. We started the first month out in training camp and doing stuff like that. And then we started the preseason and started playing games. And luckily, I just got a call from my agent. It was a little better opportunity in Poland with a little bit more more moolah for me at the time. So I said, okay, let's go do it. So I went from Switzerland. Switzerland was beautiful, by the way. I was in a little town called Sion. It's kind of up in the mountains a little bit. It was gorgeous, beautiful place to spend time with, hang out, and do all that good stuff. So, but after that, I left and went to Poland. After I got that call from my agent, and said had a good opportunity for a little bit more dough, and went over there and played a full season in Koszalin, Poland.
Okay,
it's up near the Baltic Sea, probably about I want to say about an hour and 30 away from the German border.
Oh wow.
But no, that was a great experience. It was one of those towns. It wasn't like one of those big Polish cities or anything like that. Nice little town, but I really had some great teammates on there, and we had a good time.
Man, so how was it being that far away from home? Because going from Gary, Indiana to Ann Arbor, Michigan is one thing, but then going from the United States in general to a whole nother country, different culture, everything. The air is different, all of that. As soon as you step off the plane, you somewhere different. So, and I can relate to that because I went to India for 6 months after graduating from college. But how was that experience, or how was that transition?
It was difficult at first. Like it's really a culture shock. You get there and it's like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out. What am I gonna eat?
Yeah.
What language y'all speaking over here?
Yeah.
Can I get to somebody who can help me out? And it was crazy. I remember one of my first meals. I went in Switzerland. I went to the restaurant. The team had a restaurant set up for us. We can go in there and get meals. And I was like, man, let me get a steak in here. Let me order steak and fries. Right? So they put it on my plate, and I'm eating, and I'm like, man, it's a little tough. It's like, it don't taste like no regular steak. And then I was like, excuse me, what was this on the menu? It's like, yeah, that was the steak dish. Well, I think it's called cheval or something like that. I'm like, what? I said, that's horse steak. That's my first experience of eating some horse over there. That was tough, but it really it really opened you up to some different stuff. Like, if you ask my wife right now, I was a picky eater. I ain't try a lot of stuff, but when you get over there, it's like those options ain't there. The KFC in Poland was about an hour away.
Damn.
So I couldn't get my hot wings every day. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to go down to the local restaurants and kind of figure it out, what was going on. But, it grew me up a lot too. Like when you get over there, you just got to fend for yourself. Got to make sure you stand on point, staying intact, and exploring and getting out of your comfort zone. So it really helped me grow up and see a different side of how people are living, how people are doing things, how people are moving. So, no, I enjoyed that time, man. I would recommend to anybody who has the opportunity to go over there and spend some time overseas in Europe to play or whatever. It just broadens your whole perspective on a lot of stuff.
No, absolutely. I had never been on a plane before going to India. I'm like, Detroit, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that throwing myself in a very uncomfortable situation was the best thing for me. And that's what I needed ultimately to be able to thrive in corporate. You know what I'm saying? Because, my whole life I was just around black people from, elementary school all the way up to high school, and even in college where it's predominantly white. We only hanging around each other.
Yeah, we had our group for sure.
So that taught me a lot, man, but it was a big cultural difference. I can remember being in an ATM line, right? And I had this fro because I didn't want to let nobody cut my hair.
Me too.
So I was getting more stares than the white people who went over there with me because they're used to seeing tourists, right? But then I wasn't African, who, they tour, they over there a lot too, right? And they like, well, he's not African. You don't have the same texture hair or anything like that or whatever, but he's not white. What is he? And I got more stares. And they knew I wasn't them. You get what I'm trying to say? Because my hair wasn't as straight and all of that stuff. So I got more stares oftentimes than most of the people that I went over there with. So I can remember being in an ATM line. And one thing about India is that the culture is different. So personal space is not the same, and I'm in the ATM line. So if you in the US, people got to stand far back from, you ain't know if you're going to get robbed. Yeah, exactly. Right. And literally it was this Indian dude right in back of me was breathing on my neck. I think his damn, like the front of his pelvic bone was touching my ass. And I turned around. I'm like, man, I gave him a little elbow, man, get off, whatever. Yeah. And then I turned around. I saw he had about 10 of his buddies with him. And I'm over here in this country. I'm outnumbered. So I quickly fell in line and de-escalated that situation. Yeah. But it did teach me a lot, man. So you end up coming back, right? Once you got back, you ended up playing in the D-League.
Yeah, so after Poland that year, that was like the first 4 years, and I came back, worked out and all that stuff, and then the next year I went to Belgium.
Oh, the next year you went to Belgium. Got
So
you.
next
Okay.
year I went to Belgium, Leuven, Belgium. That's
Ooh,
that's when I got my first taste of Stella Artois beer over there. That's where they brew it in that city.
Stella. Okay. Yeah.
So really good experience, really good team over there. I had got injured like midway through the season. I hurt, sprained my MCL.
Okay.
So after a while, I was trying to come back from that, and then the coach was acting a little crazy. So I was like, you know what, just send me home then.
Yeah.
So I went home, and really at that point, I came home and I just went back, to my mama's house.
Yeah.
Stayed in her attic, and I just grind. Like I really put my mind to like get my body together, getting in shape. So from like almost from I would say probably about February to like August, I just grinded. Went to the local gym and just grinded, work out, tried to get my body right, get prepared.
And that take more discipline than like if you in the NBA or if you in any league where you got people who kind of keep track of you and stay on you. But in this situation, when you was at home, mama's attic, you got to have enough discipline to sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I ain't had, I had a little ducat saved up, but I ain't have enough to go get trainers and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really just me thugging it out, man, and just like putting my head down and pinning my ears back and just going for it. And it really worked out for me. I really put on a lot of muscle, got in shape, and was able to come back. And that's when I went to the D League after that.
Okay.
And was able to come in and really have an impact in that league and, come a.
And that was Fort Wayne, right?
That was Fort Wayne, the Fort Wayne Mad Ants.
Okay. So that's still in Indiana, so you're not, far away.
So it wasn't too far.
Yeah.
So it was kind of perfect opportunity. It was like about 2.5 hours away from the crib. So end up driving down there for an open tryout. That's how I made. It was like, yo, we have an open tryout. Went to the open tryout. Dominated, did well, and ultimately got a spot on the team. And I got my first contract was, back then they had the A contract, a B contract, and a C contract. So I had a C contract, was making like $15,000 a year.
Damn. Whoa. Yeah.
The Mad Ants. Yeah.
So I mean, did they pay for your lodging and all that stuff? Or?
Yeah. Good thing about that, they put you up in lodging, put you up in the house, and give you an apartment and stuff like that. So that really helped out.
Okay, sure. Got you. So 2008, 2009, I think, man, like you were killing it. That year. You were averaging about close to 20 points, close to 10 rebounds, damn near a double-double, right? So next year, 2009, 2010, you ended up getting the call, right? And this was an opportunity to make that jump.
Yeah, so it was actually the 08-09 year when I got the call.
Oh, you got the call that year when you was killing it. Yeah.
So I was G League All-Star, D League All-Star, all that stuff. And then at the end of the year, unfortunately, I got hurt like right at the end of the year. I hurt my foot. I was in a boot, but then I got called up to the New York Knicks after that. So I got called up, and I was with the Knicks for the tail end of that season. So I got a chance to be up there for a game or two, and then spend time with them throughout the summer and training camp. So they did a excellent job of taking care of me. And I had a couple surgeries there with them. To get myself together.
Which worked out because they paid for all of that.
They paid for it, took care of me, man. Housed me all the summer. We worked out, so they, I'm always indebted to the New York Knicks for sure. And I also met my wife when I was up there too. So.
Oh man, she's a great woman too. Yeah. And we gonna get to the wife. Okay, so what was it like when you jumped from D/G League to the NBA? What were the differences that you noticed immediately off rip?
Just everybody's bigger, stronger. It just, when you think of how intense or how big somebody is or how strong they are or how fast they move, you just can't imagine it until you get there and you like feel it and see it. It's like, my first game in the NBA was against Greg Oden.
Greg Oden. Was that your like welcome to the NBA moment?
That was my welcome to the NBA moment. He's a big, strong, physical dude. This was before all of the injuries and all that stuff, but just getting that feel and getting out there, man, is something you done dreamed about and watched all your life. And to finally be out there on the court with some of these guys is like, it's special. But
you kind of had your way with Greg Oden a couple of times, though. Yeah,
I did a little something, I held my own. For sure.
He's being modest. He's being modest. But no, so then you end up leaving the Knicks. Did you go back to the D League or you went back to the D League?
So I actually went back to the D League, back to the Fort Wayne when we were in training camp. So we hadn't even started the season. We're in training camp getting ready for the start of the G League, the D League season, and got a call from my agent, said, hey, the Golden State Warriors want to call you up.
Damn.
So let's get it.
Golden
Let's
State
go.
Warriors.
Yeah. So.
And you ended up playing 60 games that season. You
Yes.
started about what, 8, 10 of them?
Probably about that, about double digits. I think about 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it was great. So I ended up packing all my stuff up, drove back home to Gary, put the rest of my stuff I needed at the house, and got on the flight, and was out in Oakland the next day.
Damn. So how was that like, or what was the difference between playing for New York and now playing for Golden State?
Yeah, I mean, New York, I didn't really get a great chance to play a lot. I was injured most of that time. So when I got there at the end, I was injured. And then throughout the training camp and training season, I was just coming back. So did training camp, played a lot of games in preseason. But the Golden State experience was just different, man. It was like starting from scratch a little bit.
Damn.
Got there at the beginning of the year and was able to just really kind of get ingrained into the system and be a part of kind of what they were doing and play a lot of games and do some stuff. So, it was exciting for me.
Man, I remember, and I don't know, you could tell me if this is true or not, right? But when you were playing with Golden State, one of the best games that I ever seen you play, 22 points. And I want to say it was against Kobe Bryant's Lakers. Mm-hmm. And that was during the year where they were like good.
Yeah, they won a championship.
They won a championship that year. But I mean, you had so much in your repertoire. Like you was shooting from the outside. I'm talking about post moves, the sky hook, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you getting it off the board, you catching alley-oops. I mean, all types of stuff, man. I mean, what was it like playing in that game with Kobe or against Kobe and playing the best game that you arguably had ever played in your life?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Like when you're in the moment, you don't necessarily think about it. You're just so locked in on what your task is and what you're doing at hand. But when I look back at it, it's like, wow, like that was big. Because you see a lot of people in the league now, like, they game highs are not 22, that early in their career and doing that. And just to think about the legends, Kobe and, had Paul Gasol, Andrew Bynum, all those guys, Ron Artest. So it was one of those things where it was special in that moment, man. And you just enjoy it, you embrace it. And it's something that you prepare for all your life for, to be able to do something like that. So
did you have like a little different swag, or was people treating you a little different after that game?
a little different, everybody come in the locker room, you got a little bit more respect. Like, hey, I can do a little something at this level too in the league. So, but no, it was fun. Everybody was supportive, man, and great teammates and understanding my journey and my story and how it came about to be able to go out there and have a performance like that was really special.
Okay, so when did you end up getting injured again? Because I know you had your first injury. Was it that year you were playing with Golden State?
Yeah, so to be honest, man, like that first year, I was never really 100% healthy. During that training camp with the G League, I was battling some shin splints and so I was like kind of.
You had a lot of nagging injuries.
I had a lot of nagging stuff, I think, lingering from, those surgeries that I had with New York and just trying to, really.
With the MCL sprain and stuff.
MCL, and then I had a surgery on my foot that I had to have to get something taken care of with that too. So with the Knicks, I had came back right after I basically got out of my boot. 2 weeks later, I'm in training camp. So I really pushed it because I wanted the opportunity to try to make this roster and make the team. And I think that some of those things kind of lingered. So really those first, I'll probably say that the first month when I was with Golden State, man, I was popping Advils and Tylenols after practice.
Yeah.
And was getting through practice, getting through games, and then going back to the room and just just laying down because it would hurt me to even walk through the hotel. And I didn't want to go tell the trainer that because he might replace me with somebody else. So it was I just kind of battled through it a little bit, and then ultimately got to a point where I was feeling pretty good with it throughout the year. But yeah, I remember those first couple of weeks. It was man, I got this opportunity. I ain't.
And that's a good point because if you got a solid contract and whatever the case may be, you can let the staff know that, and you're gonna be training. They gonna get you the medical help you need, this, that, and the third. But if you somebody who you there, and it ain't necessarily a solid contract, then you can't give them that information because they'll cut you, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a business. Your best ability is availability. So I needed to be available to play. That's why they brought me there. And I was battling and did some good stuff, but I really wish that I would have been at the optimal physical level when I got to the league, because I think I could have really done some more stuff to help solidify myself. But yet and still, man, I battled through that stuff and was able to ultimately get that guaranteed contract for the year and be there.
Yeah, you were. Damn. So then, okay, again, you had an MCL sprain, right? What would you say was your worst injury by far?
Yeah, well, my worst injuries were the injuries that kind of started the end of my career. So after that season with Golden State, I was back in Fort Wayne in the G League trying to get another opportunity in the league. I was playing well, doing some great stuff with them, and ultimately I tore my Achilles. We had a game on Christmas Day at home and tore my Achilles, and that took me out.
Which foot?
That was my left foot.
Your left foot, okay.
My left foot. So tore my left Achilles on Christmas Day in a game, and ultimately, that's really a year recovery.
It's a year recovery. But man, just the fact that you talking about you played overseas, you get back, you play with the G League or D League at that time. I can't remember when they switched over. You play with the Knicks, then you play with Golden State, then you go back to the G/D League. I mean, it just shows your level of perseverance, bro. Like, I mean, anybody else would have been giving up, but you kept at it. And then you get to the point to where you tear your ACL in your left.
My Achilles,
Your Achilles, I'm sorry.
My Achilles, yeah.
Your Achilles, which is probably a worse injury,
That's worse. That's worse than the ACL.
Yeah.
That's worse than the ACL.
So then you out trying to, recover for 9 months. And again, you're not recovering at some NBA team's facility.
Yeah, no, I was down in Fort Wayne, did most of my rehab in Fort Wayne, and then transitioned over. I went to a place in Indianapolis who did a really good job. But
Okay, so then you come back after 9 months, right? You playing for Mad Ants again, right? What happens after this?
So before I even got that, I had an opportunity to go with the LA Clippers to their summer league.
Oh shit, you did?
Yeah.
How
So
the hell did I? I'm so sorry.
It's
I missed
all
that
good.
Then the LA Clippers?
yeah, went out to LA. This was like in the summertime, getting ready to go to Vegas for summer league. Had some really, first couple of days, great practices, man, and was doing well, feeling good. And then ultimately again went to take a step and tore my right Achilles
Shit.
in a practice with the LA Clippers before summer league. So, that was another, like when it happened, I knew exactly what it was because I've been through it before. But it's just one of those devastating things, man, when you fight back, you grind back for 9 months, almost a year, and then have another opportunity and you're playing well and feeling good and, something else happens. So that was tough right there.
That's like the worst
Very
luck
tough.
possible if you're an
Very,
athlete.
very
Yeah.
tough.
So then after that, what's going through your mind? And I can only imagine your support system had to hold you down during that time. So what's going through your head at this moment? And are you even considering going through recovery again just so that you can, take your shot at playing at a high level again?
Yeah, man, that second time was tough. I think, initially, and it was kind of funny timing with it. Initially, that was my wife back then, my girl, my baby mama. She was pregnant with our first.
What's her name? I want the people to know.
My wife's name is Quanda Hunter.
Quanda is an incredible person, man. We went to her party. I think it was her 27th birthday party.
Exactly.
We're just gonna say 27.
27.
We're gonna say 27, and we had a good time. It was like a 90s theme or whatever.
Yeah, 90s party. We had a great time.
But anyway, your wife is pregnant with your first kid, your son.
My first kid, my son CJ. So he was basically about to be due. Like when I flew back we were living in DC at that time in Silver Spring. So I flew back. I was gonna have my surgery for this one there at Georgetown. So the day of my surgery, I mean, she's pregnant. She about to pop. I have the surgery. It went longer than it should have been. So we're in the hospital super long for a long time. We get back. She's picking me up and taking me up. So we get back to our townhome we had there. And I sit on the couch after surgery. I'm groggy from the anesthesia, all that, foot all wrapped up on crutches.
Damn, yeah.
And then she come out after a while and said, you know what? I think my water just broke.
As calm as like
Yeah,
that?
no, real calm. She said, you know what? I think my water just broke. I'm gonna go take a shower. We're going to get the bags back. So
I'm gonna clean the house up and everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
pay
some bills.
And, yeah.
And she a gangster, drove herself after her water broke in labor, drove herself to the hospital. I mean, her brother was there, but he didn't have his license, so he couldn't drive.
Damn.
I just came out of surgery with my right foot wrapped up in anesthesia and groggy. I'm sleepy. So she drove herself to the hospital, and and drove us to the hospital, dropped us off at the front door. I'm on crutches. She dropped me off at the front door, and the nurse was like, where's the lady who's pregnant? Like, yeah, she went to go drop the car off.
Wow.
She'd be walking back. So we looking like, what the?
It's just something out there. Maybe it's something in the water in New York. I want everybody to know Quan is from New York. She got the New York,
star, do or die.
New York accent, Brooklyn accent, all of that, man, and is an incredible person. But anyway.
Yeah, so no, I mean, so really, I mean, it was kind of a whirlwind of emotions and everything going on. I like just came off my second Achilles surgery, but you know, my first child was going, you know, my girl was going into labor. So it was just a whirlwind of emotions that kind of kept me occupied during that time. But that second one, that recovery was tough. Like I said, it was a lot going on. New dad. We were out in Silver Spring, so away from our normal kind of support system a little bit there. But, you know, that was a tough one. It was some times where, you know, going to rehab and I'm like, man, I'm about to go home, man. I ain't doing this no more.
Damn,
but
yeah.
I had one of my homeboys from Gary come out and stay with us for a little while once I got to the point where I could really kind of push the recovery and do some stuff. And he, you know, came out and worked out with me. And we were in the gym all the time. So that really helped, man. Shout out to him, Sean Smith. That's my guy.
Sean Smith. You don't really hang around a whole lot of dudes like that. So I know Sean Smith must be a real one, man. Shout out to you, Sean Smith.
That's my G. Came out, man, and really had that support for me. So we used to go out there and work out. He hooped too. So we would kind of just, you know, feeding off each other's energy. And he was out there for me, man. And it, you know, I was really able to do the best that I could to come back and recover from that. So ultimately did come back. And was back with the Mad Ants, man. Shout out to that organization too for just continually supporting me and giving me opportunities. You know, because after all these injuries and all these other things going on, I always felt like I had a home or opportunity to go back there and try to prove myself. So,
wow, but that says a lot about you, man. Yeah, that they kept, you know, welcoming you back with open arms, man. And I looked at some of your interviews with the Mad Ants. Every single one of those interviews, humble, and even like stuff that I saw when you were in the NBA, it's the same Chris. No matter what, who was appreciative of those opportunities, no matter what level it was at. So anyway, you ended up coming back to the Mad Ants, and then at some point you said, you know what, let me start thinking about what's next.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny. I was just like in a game, man, and I just really like body-wise and everything wasn't feeling myself. You know, and that was a tough thing. I probably could have battled, when I look back, I could have battled through it more mentally.
And as an athlete, you know when like, nah, my body ain't.
I just felt, I'm like, man, this is not, dang, I'm not, you know, where I need to be, and it wasn't feeling right. So I just kind of like, I went to the ownership and the GM. It was like, yo, I just need to step away from it a little bit, try to see if I can get myself better and get my body more right and stuff like that. So went back home, and at this point we had moved from DC to Indiana. So went back home to Indiana and was.
This is you, Quan, and your first child.
And my first child, yeah. So we're back in Carmel, Indiana. Bought a home there. That was our first home we bought there. So really, at that point, you know, I continued to work out. Was trying to get back in shape, but and get better. And I got pretty good, and body was feeling good. But some of those opportunities weren't coming on like I wanted to be. I think my agent called me some stuff in China. Some other places. I'm like, yeah, man.
You got a family now. Yeah.
Family, man. I'm not about to, you know, go to China for 9-10 months out the year and do that. And so that's when I really start to lock in, like, you know, what's next for me, man? What's the next step? What's the next phase? I still love the game of basketball. Still want to be around it. Maybe I should try to get into this coaching thing, get into, you know, being around the game of basketball. So I reached out to some folks that I had, you know, knew and had some previous relationships with at Michigan, and just asked for advice. You know, how do I get back into this? What's the steps? You know, how do I get involved? And was ultimately able to hook up with, you know, some folks here and Coach Beeline.
Coach Beeline, yeah.
Yeah, and some opportunities came about. You know, some people left and, you know, got some jobs in different places, and the spot, you know, that came available and was ultimately able to get it.
Damn, Coach Beeline, man, he was there for like almost a decade, from like 2008 all the way up to 2017 or something like that. So you start working with University of Michigan in 2013 as the president of player personnel.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And, you know, you interviewed a couple of times with Beeline.
Yeah.
And I can remember him basically saying he was confident that, you know, he knew he had made the right choice. Do you think having your degree in business, did that help in that interview, or did it help you secure that position?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think, you know, the resume, you know, like former NBA player, professional, And then looking at my academics, like, hey, yo, this dude was a student athlete here at University of Michigan and went to the Raw School of Business and got a degree. Like, I can tell he's about the right stuff. So, you know, none of those guys knew me from Adam, but people, you know, knowing my reputation and kind of the legacy I left behind here in Michigan, some people said some good things about me and was able to get it. So definitely the business school degree helped. You know, he mentioned that in some interviews. Like, you know, that was a big part of, you know, why I thought you would be the right person for this fit.
And they had a lot of success during that time. Beeline was there, especially I think the second half of his career there. You know, I think 2 Final Four appearances. I know, like, all of the athletes were probably. Did they come to you to confide in you about things? Were you somebody that they considered to be a mentor? Because, I mean, just looking at you now, you look like you could still probably get up. Yeah, like you look like you could still give them, you know, a run for their money one-on-one. And I'm sure the other coaches, no disrespect to them, but they might, you know, probably got the dad bods, look a little older. Who knows? I don't know, right? But did they come to you a lot when they needed to talk or just needed advice?
Yeah, man. I mean, we kept it a lot light, you know, with everybody. I tried to take care of my business as far as my job with them, and then just be an example and kind of bring great energy every day with these guys, man. If there's anything that I can impart, you know, we had some great coaches. So, you know, for me, it wasn't trying to step on toes or overstep my boundaries, but just be that person to be example every day of how you come in and bring energy. And if I could impart some wisdom here and there with those guys, man, it was great. We had a great group of kids since I've been here who came through here, man, all great guys, great families. So you just try to be that example and just try to get in where you kind of can fit in and help guys out to the best of your ability. Because a lot of times when you're in my role, you don't have the access all the time to the guys, right? So, you know, the coaches can be on the court with them. They're in the film sessions. They can do a lot of other things that kind of helps build those relationships. So you got to find unique ways to try to, you know, help build those, whether it's in the training room or inviting guys over your house, different things like that. So just try to be that example. Or I'm walking through the weight room, talking stuff with them, or go try to go lift some weights or work out or do something like that and impart some wisdom or some of my experiences with them. So, you know, I try to do a good job of that. But, man, our guys are great, and I've had, you know, some great times with just being a part of it. And that's one of the things that, you know, why I wanted to get back into it, because you have, as a basketball player, you have so many people pour into you and are fertile people in your development as far as your growth. And what you want to do is just like pay that forward, you know. So any way that you can to the next generation of hoopers, and
because you had so many people in your life who helped you along the way.
So many people who helped you along the way, whether big or small, you know. So you want to pay that forward.
Yeah, and it's like you killing 2 birds with one stone, because you able to pay it forward in this new role as president of player personnel, but then at the same time, you're still around the thing that you love as well. So it's still giving you a sense of purpose and meaning. So what was your role as the president of player personnel?
Yeah, so I handled a lot of anything basically that had to deal with the players, whether it was helping them, you know, facilitate some class work or, you know, help them not do their classwork. Let's get that out of the way. Not do it, but making sure they on track. The I ain't do nowhere. I ain't write no papers.
He ain't do none of that.
Yeah. But help them stay on point. Like, you know, back in the day, I was doing class checks. I was up there, you know, interfacing with our academic advisors and stuff on campus to make sure they was on point. So anything that had to do with them, I helped with our practice scheduling, our training table scheduling, any of the kind of internal operations that had to deal with the players I took care of. You know, our community service stuff helped set those up and facilitate community service pieces. So no, it was a great experience for me just to be a part of it and kind of learn, you know, how the sausage is made in college basketball. Because, you know, when you're a player, you know, you show up to practice, you show up to games, and
you don't really all the inner workings or what's going on behind the scenes. You ain't thinking about that.
Realize that, damn, these coaches been in here all day.
Damn.
And been grinding and been working. So, you know, that was a special part, just to see all of the stuff that goes into it.
Damn. So you there working as the president of player personnel from 2013, and in 2017 you get promoted to president of basketball operations. How the hell did that? I mean, did you apply for this, or did Beeline come up to you and just say, "Man, you killing it in this role. I'm just, you know, we got to give you more money, Chris."
Yeah, just give me more money. I'm doing so well. Like, damn, You looking so good in the up now.
You looking real good in the suit on the sideline and everything.
Damn,
You know what I'm saying?
it looks like a director of something.
Just the way your skin looking and everything, you know. Yeah.
It's always one of those opportunities where people are in the program, they lead the program for various reasons, bigger and better opportunities or different opportunities, and that role became available, and you said, thought I'd be a perfect kind of fit for that with my background, especially in business and all of that stuff. So what I do now is really handle all of our operational stuff. So manage our budget, which is pretty sizable budget, and interface with, all of our contracts.
Man, pretty sizable budget, huh?
Pretty sizable for
Listen, Chris, we're gonna have to talk after this video. Anyway, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, for sure. But no, that this role has been good for me because I've been able to add some of my business aspects into it as far as interfacing with our scheduling and marketing and different contracts and different stuff that's going on, as well as navigate all of our logistics and travel and everything that's going on with that. Put on some cool events and partner with people to put on some cool events, and so it's been really good.
Damn. And then you actually had a year in this role where arguably one of the toughest years of anybody's life during COVID. I mean, was the job exponentially harder during COVID? I mean, you guys had the best. You guys had an incredible record though during COVID.
Had a great record. It was good for us, but no, I mean, it presented challenges that wouldn't necessarily ever be in your way to doing your job in any other situation. But it was a fun year and a weird year in the same way because everybody was so apart. Like as far as fans and everything else, it brought the team and the staff so much together because we were so isolated. So we had to spend a lot of time, do a lot of things together. And it was only us. In games, it's just us in the game. We had to bring our own energy. We had to, do everything together. So that was special.
Y'all was a number one seed entering the NCAA tournament that year. And I think for Juwan Howard, who became the coach in 2019 or something like that, he was the first player to enter NCAA tournament as a number one seed and coach. And coach, right? So now it switches from Beeline to Juwan Howard, and you're already in this new role when Juwan Howard gets there. Do you have to apply for your job all over again when a new coach comes on the scene?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a formal application process, but you kind of be in a role, you're in a role, and you kind of say, hey, yo, I want to stay in it. This is what I do. This is what I present. This is what I bring to the table. And luckily for me, me and Juwan had a little bit of a relationship and familiarity with each other from, time in the NBA. And then also with him coming back to the program and just, being around and
while you were a player there. Yeah.
While I was a player, he was probably one of the first guys, NBA guys who came back and kind of spoke to us while I was a player. And then when I was on staff with Beeline, he would come up and we would do talks and coaches session. We'd get on the court and pick each other's brain about stuff and the coaching staff. So that was good. But yeah, I had to, kind of re-interview again because, when coaches leave, basically everybody
got to prove
job
themselves.
is in jeopardy. Nobody is,
because they might be looking to bring their boys in. Like, I got this guy over here. Right.
Exactly. You're kind of tied to that coach. That's the kind of the volatility of this college thing. These coaches leave or get fired or whatever. You think about them, but it's probably 8-9 other people who are, extremely affected by it other than these coaches.
Damn. So, okay, now fast forward to actually this year, right? And you guys are basically on the bubble with respect to whether or not you're going to make the NCAA tournament. Y'all were like a 500 team at this point. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember who y'all was playing, but I saw Juwan Howard, he was on, Juwan got some hood. And like, he a real dude, you know what I'm saying? Seems like a great dude or whatever, but something happened where he, wanted to protect one of his players, understandably so. And I seen that his hand just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He ended up getting suspended, right? Now you get moved up to, I think, third on the assistant coaching staff, right? Y'all playing Michigan State. Big man, player by the name of Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah.
Right? He had like 33 points, right? After the game, he's in a post-game interview and he's talking to, the reporters and everything like that. And they said, yo, what adjustments did you make? This, that, and the third. Without hesitation, he said, Chris Hunter, the reason for this. And then the guy who was the associate head coach at the time, I think Phil Martelli.
Coach Martelli, yeah.
Coach Martelli, he said the same thing, Chris Hunter. So you got a chance to actually be like a coach, because I
Yeah.
think Juwan Howard was the one who was typically coaching the big man, but you stepped in and made an incredible impact, beat Michigan State, our rival, and we ended up getting inside, into the NCAA tournament. And this is all while Juwan Howard was suspended. So how was it like moving up the ladder like that and having a chance to get some hands-on experience as a coach?
Yeah, I mean that was fun, man. It was a great experience. You always like prepare for that moment. I've been in this thing for a long time and been around a lot of great coaches, and you try to pick and sponge off everybody. Any type of information you can get, you try to absorb that and put it into how you would do it, how you would coach. But it was great, man. It was to be able to get out there and sweat and bump with these guys and actually be hands-on and say you had a part in somebody's success, and the team's success was special. But yeah, no, me and Hunt, man, Hunt's a great dude. He's always a sponge for like learning and getting better. Really self-aware and humble about that. As far as like as good as he is and as good as he's gonna be, he's always continuing to try to get better. So we had a good little session, a couple sessions before that, man, and just try to give him some different perspectives, some different some tips on like, hey, this is what I see that you can do to really like go at these dudes and attack. And he was able to go out there and have a hell of a game, man. That was very exciting.
And of course they're gonna listen to you because like a lot of the coaches haven't made it to the highest level. You have, so yeah, it's kind of a privilege and a huge benefit for them to be able to kind of pick the brain of somebody who actually been there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was a cold big man. You was cold at your position. So
you get a little credibility. I try to show a little highlights every now and then and say, hey, I had it a little bit back then. I can do a little something.
Modest. This guy.
And then, but now I still go out there and I dunk on these dudes right now.
But it's only gonna be for one quarter.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
I'm gonna
if it's half court, we good.
Not full
court. Half court, we good.
Okay, so I ended up reconnecting with you recently when Daniel was in town. Daniel Horton was in town, man, and I came over to your house, and it was me, you, and him talking, in your beautiful house, man, in the living room. And then Quan ended up coming downstairs. This is my first time meeting Quan. She come downstairs. She got the New York accent. Yo, what up? How you doing? Word is born. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, she came downstairs, and she sat right next to you, right? And she was talking to us like we were one of the fellas. And that told me a lot about y'all relationship because, most dudes don't want they woman talking to their boys when they over because either they they don't want their boys to slip up and say something stupid, or it's like an insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Where we're possessive sometimes, and we don't want our boys to be able to experience our wives or our significant others in that capacity, but you allowed her to be herself. You know what I'm saying? But she was still sitting right next to you, and I could just see the deep reverence and respect that y'all had for each other and just the subtleties of the conversation that day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like I guess let me ask you this, because you great looking guy, tall, successful, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what was it about Quan that made you say, you know what, it's a wrap? I'm sure you knew you always wanted to be a family man, possibly because of your upbringing, but what was it about her that made you say, nope, that's it, I'm done?
Man, it's funny, I always tell this story about when we first met. I was in New York. That's when I was with the Knicks. It was, during the summer. We connected actually kind of via Facebook, right? So we, eventually had some initial conversations, some exchanges. And then, ultimately, I had went to training camp with the Knicks, so I had like shut it down for a month. Then we were done, and then with training camp and back in the city, so hit her back up, and then we, really connected. But when I first pulled up, shout out to my man Nate Robinson, he let me borrow his Hummer.
Nate Robinson. Damn,
so I pulled up to the parking lot.
Hold on, that's a lightweight flex. Chris just said Nate Robinson. If you don't know, won the dunk contest a couple of times. Yeah. Short dude, but he had
great
big
brother.
game. Yeah,
great brother, man. He let me borrow his Hummer, so I had his Hummer for most of the summer. He let me borrow and have a car up there.
Cool.
So I pulled up in the Hummer and I had my velour Sean John suit on. So I always mess with her. And she said, act like, she was like floating over there to me after she came out the car. But no, we had great conversations. And then just initially, man, it just like those first couple of weeks, the same thing I would say from my time why I committed to Michigan, man, like being with her felt like home.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? When you get with somebody and it's like this feels right, this feels comfortable, this feels safe, this feels, good. So like, really being with her and interacting with her, it felt like home, and it felt like, like this is it. Like I always kind of in the back of my mind knew that. It took us a little while to get married and get there. I'm sorry, babe. It took us a little while. 2 kids later, we finally got married. But in the back of my mind, I always knew, like this was it. You just get that feeling.
And she was with you at your worst, man, during that second.
Yeah, man.
What was it, Achilles?
Yeah, man. When I tore the second one, she was in New York and drove up from New York.
So she drove herself to the hospital when she was pregnant, and she drove
from New York to Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Damn.
So I mean, you just know, man. Like, but it was early on, like those first couple of weeks that we were just, getting to know each other and hanging out, man. Like you get that feeling. It's like, yeah, this, like I said, it felt like home.
Yeah, and she can balance, like, taking care of the household and taking care of her motherly duties and this, that, and the third, and being a professional at the same time.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Like I said, she takes care. She does her thing, man. She's been successful in everything that she's done a lot of great things. Undergraduate at Howard, got her MBA
Howard
from Michigan at the Ross School of Business. So that's where that connection kind of came up on Facebook. And now is doing a thing. And she works for a lot of companies, Jet, Ebony, IBM, and now she's working for a company called Calix, where she does she's a marketing manager for one of their digital products. So now she's doing well, man, and it's it's special to see how she navigates that with the kid. We got 3 little ones and pickups and drop-offs and all of the extracurricular activities she's doing, Jack and Jill, and
because during the school year you be traveling a lot,
and during the season, I'm 2-3 times a week we're on the road, with games. So she's maintaining it. We don't have that support system here in Michigan with relatives and cousins and aunties you can drop people off with. So
and she's an AKA, and my wife, she's a Delta. And, when they first got around each other, I was a little worried, but it wasn't like the Crips and Bloods. You know what I'm saying? No, but now you got 2 sons. They both tall. I think when I met your oldest son, man, I thought he was about 16 years old, man. But but he's not that old, but he's tall like you. Yeah.
He get it honest.
And he's playing basketball too.
Yeah, he just started playing, man. He's doing well, man. He's enjoying it. His favorite player is Kobe, which is good.
Nice.
He likes,
because you can be like, I played the guy. I gave him 22.
I show him the picture. I got a couple pictures with Kobe dunking on me, but hey, I gave him 22. So he's doing well, man. The kids are really starting to flourish. It's just funny how much they change, so quickly.
How so now him playing basketball, is it hard for you to go to his games and see where he messes up and not intervene? Are you the He Got Game Denzel Washington dad?
No, I'm not. I'm a cross between the Denzel on He Got Game and Coach Carter. That's
Coach Carter. Yeah.
A little bit of that. But no, you know what? It's tough. I want to do more so what my dad for me is just provide that fertile ground for him to just kind of explore and the resources available for him to do it. Sometimes it's tough because, I play ball. I've been around coaching at a high level for a long time. So sometimes it's hard not to impart yourself on what he's doing so early on. But you got to understand, you're still dad. That he's sick of hearing your voice about 15 other things you done said. So I try to, try to make stuff fun, but at the same time, try to give him little nuggets and teach when I can. But I remember the first games, I was like ready to go down there on the court and like, hey, man, didn't I tell you? And then you start to learn that, it's a growth process that he has to, really just kind of figure out on his own. And you do most of your work, outside of the court when you can, get him in them talks and them little quick workouts or whatever you may do. So, no, it's been special just to see him enjoy it and then have some of those same experiences when you're talking about going on road trips with the teams and hanging out in hotels and some of that stuff. So it's been really fun just to see him kind of really take a hold to it and enjoy it.
Okay, so some young kid out there, 13 years old, and he has aspirations of becoming a basketball player. What advice would you give him? What advice would you give your son? With you being somebody who has made it to the highest height of every level, D1 college, NBA, all of that. What advice would you have for that young man?
Yeah, you got to start off with a true love and enjoyment for the game. I think sometimes, parents and coaches and kids, you put a little too much pressure on these kids early on to be good and be great and really work hard all the time. And I'm in the gym and I got the mama mentality and I'm waking up. Just enjoy that game first, man. Build that love for it and that enjoyment. because that's gonna help you in the long run. Like, you don't need to be beating these kids down and like trying to, you know, make them out to be the next best thing. Because if it doesn't happen, then it's going to be a lot of disappointments. But just really enjoy that game and let them be kids and grow into it. And everybody has their own type of path that they're going to take. You know, you're going to develop at certain different stages. Some people early, some people late, some people have gradual. So just continue to just develop that and that enjoyment for it, man. Because, like, I don't know where my life would be without basketball, man. It's taken me so many different places. I've seen so many different things. I think I've been to, I want to say 47 of the 50 states, playing basketball all over the country. Like you said, you go from predominantly 99% black Gary, Indiana, to be teammates with a variety of different people from different countries, different backgrounds, different everything. So just continue to have that joy for it, man. Like, skill-wise and all that stuff. That's gonna come.
How many countries did you say you traveled to?
Man, countries. Man, it's been countries probably about 8 or 9.
And how many? And you said pretty much all of the states.
All
here
of the states. I want to say about 47. I haven't been to.
That's a flex.
I haven't been to Alaska.
That's a flex, y'all. That's a flex. Y'all gonna have to see somewhere outside of y'all hood and go travel somewhere because wow, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. When I look back, I'm like, dang, I've been to that many of the states in some, you know, shape or form, whether, you know, traveling through stopping or, you know, playing games there. So no, it's like, it's incredible the type of people you be around and the things that you can experience being a part of this game and giving back to it. So I've been blessed to really have an opportunity to be around a lot of great people.
You know, the people that I have on the show are people that I consider to be like enigmas, where you look at them and, you know, it's you can't necessarily explain how they were able to do what they were able to do throughout the course of their lives. And you know, when I met you in college, again, most of the athletes was partying, drinking, smoking. You didn't do, you know, any of that. Barely cursed, you know, God-fearing dude, you know what I'm saying? And you know, and then a lot of the times with the athletes, they can be, you know, jocks who might, you know, take advantage of the fruits of being an athlete and being adored by many people on campus. But you always had a respect for everybody, you know, no matter who it was, man. And then your demeanor, like me, I'm in a school of engineering, man. I'm like barely, you know, surviving, you know what I'm saying? I'm working the job. I'm making $330 a month. My car note was $250, so that left me with $80 for gas money and food and all that. And thank God for my wife, because she used to, you know, go grocery shopping. You know, I would let her use my car. She had these little snacks in her refrigerator in her dorm room, and she'd be like, "Hey, you hungry? Come over here and eat." And I look like the homeless person over there, just grubbing, eating everything, man. But again, it was chaotic for me, and that's why I clung to you, because you had a quiet demeanor. I was cool with Daniel, but it was a lot of times where I would go over there, Daniel wouldn't know, and I'm in there playing NBA Live with you, and he'd come home and be like, "Damn, nigga, you know, how come you ain't called me and let me know you was coming over?" But that your demeanor was so calm, cool, and collected. And it's no wonder why you have been able to ascend to the heights that you've ascended to throughout your career. And I can see you being an incredible coach in the NBA just because of your calmness and, you know, how, you know, cerebral you are, just your cognitive abilities and all sorts of things. And I just see you being a great coach, man. I went to your house a few times, saw how you were around your wife and your kids, your 3 beautiful kids. They're mannerable kids, man. And just the way that they love on you and respect you, it says a lot, you know, about you. And then the other thing, man, there's a guy by the name of Jordan Peterson. He's a clinical psychologist. I referenced him on another episode, but he has a book called 12 Rules for Life. One of the rules is be precise with your speech. Like me, just like I'm doing right now, you know, I could talk on and on and on, and you would have still got the point had you removed 30% of the words that I said, because sometimes I just like to make stuff sound good. With Chris, he's precise. So you mean what you say. You know, you say what you mean. You're not a bullshit artist. Never been one, right? There's another rule by Jordan Peterson where he says, what did he say? Make sure that your household is in complete order before you criticize the world. Something like that. I can remember I was talking to you, man, about somebody. I'm just probably just, dry snitching, gossiping, like, man, this nigga, can you believe this nigga did it, blah, blah, blah. And Chris was like, hey, man, he got to walk his own path. Like, you don't have anything negative to say about anybody. And it makes sense because you're more focused on making sure your house is in order and less focused on trying to criticize the world, because sometimes we can be so focused on criticizing the world that we can lose sight of what's happening in our own house, and we look up and our house is burnt to the ground and we like, how the hell did that happen? Well, because you was focused on other people and weren't focused on yourself. So all of these things are why I admire you. And then you talk about your trajectory and your journey, man, and it's not always about the results, but who you become in the process of getting there. And every time you fell down, you got back up stronger, man, and that says like a lot. So I admire the hell out of you, bro. I thank you for coming on this show, man. We gonna have to go get some drinks or something. I want to walk in one of these bars and for people to see that I'm with somebody that's 7 feet, because that's gonna make me look like the man up in them streets. So, but I just want to thank you, bro. Where can people find you on Instagram and Twitter?
Ooh, yeah, I'm not a big Instagram. I probably got to look on my phone to see what it is. To see what my handle is. I think my handle is Big Game Hunter 20. Big Game Hunter 31W. I think that's it.
If you put in Big Game Hunter, search his name on Google.
Big Game Hunter. That's my Instagram. But I'm not on there a lot, man. I'm a big retweeter and scroller. I need to get my social media game up, man. But that's where you can find me on there. But no, appreciate you having me, man. Like, these conversations are always, opportunities for growth and just introspect, and thinking about, things that you've done in your past and building off of. So I appreciate you having me on here, man, and the kind words you said, man. Like I said, the same things that you thought about me, I think about you. I think that's why we had that relationship back then. It was just cool, man. Like you said, it was like we understood it was about business, and when we had fun, we had fun. But it was good to be around some good dudes who were on the right path of success and doing stuff the right way, man. And people who didn't take away from your energy, but added to it. Added to it.
Absolutely, man. Damn.
Yeah, man.
So, hey, y'all, this is Chris Hunter. First time that I've had a conversation with anybody who done made it to the NBA, I think, this is the first time. We about to go outside right now and film a one-on-one game, and that should be coming out shortly. Yeah. Chris might not want it. He might, have me sign an NDA.
We can put that out.
No, you probably want you want me to sign an NDA so you don't.
No, you probably want to sign it. It's just going down.
All right, peace, y'all. Conversations with TinBridge.